Welcome to my YouTube channel, One Race, Human Race, All Human. Today is Sunday, October 30th, 2022. There's need for a uniform process for federal elections and a nonpartisan, impartial, independent, neutral commission to determine disputed votes. This can all be based upon the United States Constitution, Article 1, Section 4, Clause 1. And we can have this based upon a bedrock view, strict constructionist view, originalist view of the Constitution of the United States of America.
You've probably seen these images. People, some armed, masked, and dressed in tactical gear, surveilling ballot boxes, ballot drop boxes, attempting to take photos and videos of voters' faces and license plates. Now, in response to that, earlier this week, 3 voting rights groups filed 2 separate lawsuits against the organizers of the ballot box surveillance, alleging that they were intimidating voters. But on Friday, a Trump-appointed federal judge in Phoenix ruled against the complainants, clearing the way for those far-right groups to continue. No voter intimidation here, apparently. And while we've seen most of the images of election watchers coming out of Arizona, this anti-democratic effort is actually much more widespread than many people realize. The investigative reporter Jen Fifield has been looking into one of those groups named in the lawsuits called Clean Elections USA. Now, in order to learn more about the group, she headed to their website, and with an easy and free sign-up, she uncovered just how vast this network actually is. Jen Fifield joins me now. She's a reporter for Vote Beat Arizona, covering elections and voting. Now, on this show, you know her. You've come to know her because of her intrepid investigative reporting throughout Arizona's sham election audit of the 2020 presidential election results. It's so great to have you here in person, to finally meet you. Thank you for all of the reporting you did.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me in person. Nice to meet you.
You were in the midst of one of the weirdest episodes in American democracy in over 100 years. Now you have started investigating what this group is. What are they doing? You signed up to this Clean Elections, Clean Voters, whatever it's called. You signed up, and what did you learn?
Well, we've switched from ninjas to mules here, right? So 2,000 Mules brought up a conspiracy theory that people are stuffing ballot drop boxes with ballots that aren't their own. So that spurred this movement of people watching over the boxes. I signed up for their website just thinking I was getting on an email list. I got a national contact list. It showed an organized movement across the country to watch over drop boxes.
How big was the contact list you got?
4,500.
4,500 people.
Across the country. 450 here in Arizona, but 48 states included.
And these were of people who were prepared to enlist and become volunteers to monitor elections or monitor drop boxes?
They want to monitor drop boxes, which is confusing because in Arizona it's legal to vote other people's ballots in many circumstances. So they're, like you said, standing outside the drop boxes. They're organizing. They're saying, this is the 75-foot line. We have to stay outside. There's discussion about who's going when and what zip codes are available. So I got access to that discussion board showing also that it's connected to this group that produced the 2,000 Mules movie in the first place, True the Vote.
So I'm guessing my viewers have probably not seen True the Vote in this 2000. It's a conspiracy theory movie about the idea that it's sort of taken this whole election fraud thing, which kind of doesn't exist, to another level, right? It's the idea.
This sounds very much like Reconstruction, and during Reconstruction, they passed 13th, 14th, 15th Amendments, right? And they passed Reconstruction Acts that protected the right to vote of the newly freed slaves. What's slavery? It's free labor. You work night and day and night. You get paid zero. And you had black men and white men voting together. They had fusion coalitions. Listen to Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s speech from March 25th, 1965. The Montgomery Voting Rights speech, where he speaks about in the 19th century how white men and black men voted together. They weren't concerned about the color of skin. They were concerned about economic interests. And they got rid of that by bringing segregation. Look at the case of Plessy versus Ferguson. Plessy was 7/8 white and 1/8 African blood, and the African blood was not discernible. That's in the Supreme Court decision. And that's a decision that said, hey, you know what? Segregation's okay. Plessy physically looked like he was white. And that doesn't get overruled until what? That was an 1896 case. Doesn't get overruled until what? 1954? Brown versus Board of Education. The 15th Amendment gave black men the right to vote. 19th Amendment gave women right to vote, mainly white women. Black women in the South got the right to vote on August 6, 1965, right? And black men with the Voting Rights Act. And then you have the 26th Amendment, which gives 18-year-olds the right to vote. So the Constitution protects the right to vote.
That it's organized, that people will take bunches and bunches of not real ballots or ballots that they filled out for other people and stick them in drop boxes, and that's why Joe Biden.
Let's go back a little bit. We need a uniform process for federal elections based upon Article 1, Section 4, Clause 1 of the United States Constitution, and an impartial, independent, neutral commission to determine disputed votes. Whoever wins, wins. Period. It's America. That's the greatness of America. The right to vote. And everyone who's eligible should have the right to vote. And not be encumbered. Whoever wins, wins. Period.
I'm guessing my viewers have probably not seen True the Vote in this 2000. It's a conspiracy theory movie about the idea that it's sort of taken this whole election fraud thing, which kind of doesn't exist, to another level, right? It's the idea that it's organized, that people will take bunches and bunches of not real ballots or ballots that they filled out for other people and stick them in drop boxes, and that's why Joe Biden's election is legitimate.
Right, and in many states this is perfectly legal, which raises the question of how they're identifying this illegal voting. They're taking people's photos, videos, taking pictures of their license plates and sending that off to this organization that produced this movie, who's looking for a second try here, it looks like, to gather evidence. They're going to send it to conservative sheriffs across the country alleging illegal voting, and that's really intimidating. Like you said, many voter intimidation complaints coming in.
So let's talk about that distinction, because if I'm doing this, standing behind my 75-foot line, saying that I can do this, I've got First Amendment rights, and I can videotape you, I can show your face, I can get your license plate. Where is the line between that being illegal activity and that being voter intimidation?
The courts are deciding that right now. Many voting advocates say any form of voting intimidation, what makes a reasonable person feel intimidated at the ballot box or in an election, is voter intimidation, plain and simple. Now, there's an argument that we're not doing anything, we're not causing any problems, so we're really going to have to see how it plays out in court.
The good news is that...
Okay, court decisions in America are based upon how do I feel? Yep. Are you moderate? Are you liberal? Are you conservative? Look at the John Roberts hearings, confirmation hearings for United States Supreme Court as Chief Justice back in 2005. Go to C-SPAN, check it out. And you'll hear Senator Patrick Leahy, Democrat of Vermont, say, we want to look at your judicial philosophy. It all comes down to judicial philosophy. What is your judicial philosophy? How do you see the law? Are you moderate? Are you liberal? Are you conservative? Are you CNN, MSNBC, Progressive Channel, Fox News, or Newsmax? That determines how laws are decided in America, period. Are you Bedrock View, strict constructionist, originalist? Or are you the living document view that says that the law changed with time? Now, constitutionally, you can amend the United States Constitution you can interpret it in three ways. One, amendment. Two, by interpretation, the judicial. And three, by practice. Okay? Those are three ways. So, it all depends upon, are you moderate, are you liberal, are you conservative? How do you see the world? If you have never met any Latino people or Asian people or black people, you might believe the lies, right? It all depends upon, or gay people, right? You may believe the lies, okay? If you haven't heard about the history, who started this country? African-American named what? Crispus Attucks, right? Boston Massacre, he started everything. Yeah, how do we know? Because when the Redcoats were brought up on charges, John Adams, second president, he defended them. And they said it was that, mulatto, Crispus Attucks who started everything. Who invented the traffic light? African-American named Garrett Morgan. And the gas mask also. I mean, there's so much that people just don't know about our history. They just don't know. about our history. So listen, there's one race, the human race, we're all human, and the greatness of America is that everyone has a right to life, liberty, freedom, happiness. Everyone. Let's all come together. Jesus said, I'm come that they might have life and have it more abundantly. There's one race, the human race, we're all human. Everyone has a right to life, liberty, freedom, happiness. Everyone on this planet known as Earth.
In the state for a long time, you can vote by mail. So if you're worried about this at all, fill out your ballot and send it in. Jen, thanks so much for your great reporting. Great to finally meet you in person.
Thank you so much.
Jen Fifield is a reporter for Vote Beat Arizona, covering the all-important issue of elections and voting. All right, up next, after being abandoned by her own party for criticizing Donald Trump and vice-chairing the January 6th committee, the outgoing Republican Congresswoman Liz Cheney has now launched ads here in Arizona to take down candidates who back the big lies. She's put country over party, which is no easy feat in today's politics. It requires a certain amount of integrity and toughness, of which Saturday Night Live took notice.
One person is responsible for this insurrection, Donald Trump. And one person will suffer the consequences, me. You might be wondering what makes me so tough. And I ask you, who is your dad? Is it Dick Cheney? I've been asked, how did you get a backbone made of steel? And I ask back, for your 10th birthday, did you eat pizza at Chuck E. Cheese with all your friends? Or did you shoot a deer in the face with Dick Cheney?
Thank you for being on my YouTube channel, Race Human Race All Human. Today is Sunday, October 30th, 2022.